Hey, this is Heather Christie with the Evolve to Win show. Thanks for tuning in. I have a quick one today. If you're one of those people who has to do some type of presentation for work, whether that be a sales presentation or maybe a presentation in front of your team or your executive team, this episode hopefully is going to be filled with value for you because my aim is to help you continue to take your game to the next level, right? So how do you do that with presentations? Well, there's a ton of information out there on the appropriate structure for presentations and what to do, what not to do. And that's not so much what I'm going to talk about today. What I am going to talk about today is a system that you can use, that you can learn to use every single time that will guarantee that you get better every single time. So I'm going to give you just a few different points. First of all, when you give your presentation, if at all possible, please record it, okay? I know that for some of you, that probably is stressful to even think about. And then others are gonna say, oh, I can't record it because it's a private company meeting. If you're going to record you for your own purposes only for review, if you need to get permission to do that, please do. But in general, I'm not talking about recording this and recording other people. I'm talking about just even recording your voice so that you can listen back on your presentation. A lot of times these days, especially if you're using Zoom or WebEx or some other video conferencing technology, it's already being recorded, which is fantastic, especially if you can see yourself on video. That's the best. No matter how uncomfortable it is. Oh my gosh, when I think back to some of my first videos I recorded, they were so bad that anything would have been an improvement. So if you can record it, please record it. The second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through a system that I would like for you to consider adopting in your practice. And you can use this system all throughout your business world. Let me start by sharing a quick story with a client that I was working with last week. She had to give a big presentation and she was kind of stressed out about it, especially about making sure that she had enough time for the preparation, because she's one who tends to get a little bit wordy in her presentations. At least that's what she says. And so she struggles with being concise and making her points and tightening it up enough so that her points are really powerful. So that really means that preparation for her is totally key. Now, we worked with her on a time blocking strategy. She used her time blocking. She even had calls coming in that she would normally stop and take, and she didn't take them. So she was successful in spending some time that was completely focused and working on the presentation. So that's awesome. But it was immediately following the presentation that I think the biggest breakthroughs come into play. And that's when you implement the system to totally review your presentation, what worked and what didn't work. So I like to call this system LBNT. One of my early coaches taught me this, and I've used it ever since. So LB stands for like best. When you go through and do a review of your presentation, first and foremost, if at all possible, schedule time in your calendar immediately after the presentation, like as soon as the presentation's over, because while it's fresh on your mind, you're going to get the best insights. So grab a block of time. I would say 15 minutes is more than you probably need. But if you can get that and get that immediately and make sure it's focused time, it's perfect. First thing you're going to do is you're going to go through and you're going to look at everything that you liked about that presentation. And I want you to be exhaustive. Like, I want you to look at everything from the very beginning. How did you prepare for that presentation? What kind of time did you spend? If you did research, what kind of research did you do? And was it the right research? And was it enough research? Was it too much research? Did you stay on point? Did you make an agenda? Did you create a PowerPoint? Everything related to the preparation all the way through until the presentation. How did you show up? How is your energy? How did you look? How did you feel about everything that you did? What was your energy like? Everything related to the presentation. Did you make the points that you wanted to make? What was the feedback from the audience if you could actually see the engaged audience? And by the way, here's a tip. If you can possibly get feedback from somebody else who was in the presentation, it's hugely helpful to go through and have this conversation with someone else so you can also get an outside perspective. If you have the time and you can watch your presentation back prior to doing this, even better, because then you'll have an additional perspective, right, from the person viewing the presentation. So again, we're working on what did you like best? And it's everything from the very start of the preparation all the way through until the end, and any feedback that you received, okay? Now, there is going to be a tendency for you to say, well, I really liked this, but I didn't do this well enough. That's not the time and place yet. Just focus on what you liked best, what you thought worked really well. And don't get on to what would you do differently until we're there. Okay, so once you've exhausted your list and you've written down everything, and by the way, written down is a key part here. So I want you to document this. Write down what you liked best. Step number 2 of this system is NT. What would you do differently next time? So NT stands for next time. Next time, I would have done a little bit of new or different types of research, or I would have spent less time preparing or more time preparing. What are the things that you would do differently, knowing what you know now, right? So now that you've got this insight, you're already smarter than you were before. So what would I do differently next time? Again, if you can review your video or your audio and you can actually take notes on that, even better. If you can get feedback from additional resources, do it if you can. And then exhaust that list of what you would do differently next time. And I want you to take it to the level of, if there's an actual action item of what you're going to do next time, I need to talk to somebody else, or I need to, whatever it is, whatever you need to do, please write it down. And then the last tip is, once you've gone through and done your LBNT and you have exhausted both of those lists, I want you to make sure that your notes are put in a place that you can actually find them and use them prior to your next presentation. So, the way that we learn best is by doing. And every time you do something, you experience, like every time you give a presentation, you clearly are experiencing giving that presentation. But so few people actually stop long enough to gain the kind of insight that will take them to the next level. And although it may seem excruciating to have to do this and go through in that kind of detail, I can promise you that when you get used to implementing the system and you do it all the time, you will gain insights because you truly know what you need to do to get to the next level. You've got that intelligence, that insight within you. So tap into it, use it, and continue to use it. And your presentations are guaranteed to get better and better and better. So if you know somebody who could use this system in their practice, please feel free to share this message. Great to be with you today, and I hope you have an awesome rest of your day.